Hi again, grade ones. I'm here to read you another Easter story today. And this is one of my favorite Easter stories that I've stumbled upon in the last 2 years. And it's written by one of our favorite authors as well. This story is called The Easter Egg, and it's written by Jan Brett. Now, you might remember Jan Brett from some of our other favorite stories called The Gingerbread Baby and Gingerbread Friends. We also read The Night Before Christmas, and I think we read The Mitten. So I thought it would be fun to pull out The Easter Egg, written by Jan Brett today. Jan Brett is an amazing storyteller, but I think she's an even better illustrator. And one of the things that I love the most about her stories are the details that she puts into her pictures. And not just that, in her pages, she likes to put little windows on each side of her pages. And those windows are almost like a prediction or a peek into what is going to happen next in the story. So they're just a little part of the page, but they're also a very important part of the book. So I want you to pay really close attention, not only to the story, but to the illustrations in this story. And you can see, just by looking at the cover, all of the beautiful details that she's put into the cover of this story. Here we see a lot of Easter eggs with patterns and bright colors and pictures and designs. I see some eggs that have animals on them, and you might even recognize some of those animals from her previous stories. So I think we're ready to start, and I hope you enjoy The Easter Egg. The Easter Egg by Jan Brett. Cheer up, spring is here. Time to start on my first ever Easter egg, Hoppy said. Each year, the bunny who decorated the winning egg got to help the Easter rabbit hide the eggs on Easter morning. As you can see, right over here, there's a little window here. What animal do we notice in the window? It's a bird, but you can tell by the red chest that it's a robin. I wonder if that's going to be a prediction to something that might happen in the story. Hoppy had been dreaming about being that bunny all year long. Now it was time to get started. Everywhere Hoppy looked, rabbits were working on dazzling eggs. I need an amazing egg, he thought. Hoppy spotted Flora Bunny planting spring wildflowers in her eggs. The Easter rabbit will love those colorful flowers, he thought, and started picking flowers for his egg. Here's a basket for your flowers, Hoppy, Flora said. It's a neat idea. She's putting real flowers inside of her eggs. Can you see that? And if you notice in the little windows on the side, you'll see there are some other rabbits who are also decorating their eggs in different ways. Chop, chop, scrape, scrape. Hoppy spied Buster Birch carving a magnificent wooden egg. I wish I had some wood for my egg, he wished out loud. Here you go, Hoppy, Buster Birch said, and he put a smooth, round piece of wood in Hoppy's basket. Thank you, Buster, Hoppy said. Now look at how he made his egg out of wood. He's carving different designs and lines into it. And again, in those windows on the side, we see two other rabbits who are also making some neat designs on their eggs. Hoppy was hopping along when the smell of sweetness led him out of the woods and straight to the chocolate egg that Aunt Sassafras was decorating with creamy frosting, squiggles, and bows. Hello, Hoppy, she said, and she put some chocolate squares in his basket. Hippity hop, Hoppy exclaimed. I'll make the Easter rabbit a chocolate egg so sweet that it'll make his whiskers tingle. I think that would be my favorite kind of egg to make. Or my favorite kind of egg to eat. Hoppy saw Granny Irene decorating one of her fabulous story eggs. First, she traced a design on the egg with a special tool. Then she dipped the egg in pots of yellow, green, orange, and red dye, adding to the design each time. Hoppy couldn't believe his eyes. "I'll never make an egg that beautiful," he told Granny Irene. She smiled. "Try," she said, giving him one of her special tools. If you look closely at these Easter eggs, they have a special name. They're called Pisanki eggs, or you might have heard them called Ukrainian eggs. And they have very detailed designs on them, and they're often made by using wax. Very beautiful. They're a lot of work to make. Hoppy was hopping by Hans van der Rabbit's garden when he spotted an extraordinary egg. Hans was painting a portrait of the Easter rabbit so real that it looked alive. "Fantastic!" Hoppy exclaimed. "Thank you, Hoppy," Hans said. "Why don't you make a painting on your egg?" And he gave Hoppy pots of paint and a fine brush. Now if you look here at this purple egg, you can see Hoppy was right. It does look like a real rabbit. And if you look at the pictures in the windows on the side, you'll see this rabbit's decorating his egg to kind of look like his shirt. And the same thing with the rabbit on this side with the red polka dots. As Hoppy bounced along, a loud boing nearly knocked him off his feet. It was a whirling, twirling mechanical egg. "Whoa!" Hoppy said. "That's an unusual egg. Would you like to make one?" Roberto asked. Hoppy tried hard, but the harder he tried, the more parts and pieces piled up around him. "Thank you, Roberto," he sighed, "but I think I better make the egg that is right for me." Roberto's making his egg out of metal and springs and all sorts of mechanical things. Hoppy hopped back to the woods and lay down under a tall tree to think. "Making a beautiful egg is harder than I imagined," he thought. "I guess I don't have to win. I just want to make an egg that I'm proud of." Suddenly, the woods rang with the squawking of birds, sounding an alarm. Mother Robin swooped down, calling wildly as if she couldn't decide where to go. An egg had tumbled out of Mother Robin's nest. Inside the perfect egg was a baby robin that needed its mother to keep it warm until it hatched. Oh, and there's that robin again. We saw that robin on the first page. Hoppy knew what he had to do. He sat down carefully and covered the blue egg with his soft, warm fur. "I'll take care of you the best that I can," he whispered. Relieved, Mother Robin chirped and settled down on her other two eggs. You can see the blue robin egg right underneath of Hoppy. Looks like he's going to try and keep it warm. Try and protect it. Hoppy never left the robin's egg. If it was sunny and warm, he carefully turned the egg in its nest of moss. If it was rainy and cold, he kept the egg covered and dry. At night, wild animals passed by. Hoppy crouched down and stayed hidden in the ferns. Often he heard strange noises coming from above, but Hoppy didn't run away. See all of the things that he's doing to keep that egg safe from predators and from the weather. Every day, the rabbits worked on their eggs. Tadpoles turned into frogs. Buds swelled into leaves, and Easter came closer and closer. Finally, it was time for the rabbits to take their eggs to the glen. They had forgotten all about Hoppy, who was quietly sitting on the blue egg under the tall tree in the woods. They're all lined up to show off their eggs, and they're hoping to win the contest for the Easter rabbit. Early the next morning, the rabbits waited for the Easter rabbit. Suddenly, a beautiful wagon rolled toward them out of the mist. Watch what happens to this page. It gets big. And it stopped. The Easter bunny stepped down from the wagon and admired the decorated eggs one by one. "You have brought me the most beautiful eggs in the world, but a very special one is not here," he told them. The rabbits were puzzled. Whose egg could it be? Who do you think it is? I think it's Hoppy. "Fill my wagon with your wonderful eggs," he said. "When I return, I will show it to you." And he disappeared into the woods. Now look at all of the eggs that those rabbits had decorated. Different patterns and colors and designs and pictures. They're all a little bit different. He came back with Hoppy, looking scruffy and bedraggled. "Hoppy has an amazing egg to be proud of," the Easter rabbit told them. "He has kept Mother Robin's egg warm and safe until her baby bird hatched and she could take care of it." The Easter rabbit placed the empty blue shell in the place of honor atop the wagon. Now they were ready to go. Now if you look carefully at the blue egg that the Easter rabbit is holding, you'll see something's happening to the top of it. It looks like it's beginning to crack. It means that the robin's going to hatch. The rabbits cheered for the egg that had surprised them all. "It's our best Easter ever, Hoppy," they shouted. And then the brave little bunny and the Easter rabbit rode off together to hide eggs for girls and boys to find on Easter morning. And there is the last picture. Now, if you notice on Hoppy's arm, I don't know if that's Mother Robin or if that's actually the baby robin. Maybe that's the baby robin that hatched out of the egg. And that's the end of the Easter egg. And as I read this story, I was thinking about coloring eggs, and I know that with my boys in the next week or so, we will be decorating eggs and coloring them and doing some neat Easter activities at home. And it made me think of some things that you could do at home with eggs and Easter eggs. And many of you might be dyeing eggs or coloring them. We would love to see all of your designs and your creations, so send us some pictures. But it also got me thinking a little bit about math. And I thought about all of the different designs and the patterns in this book. I also thought, boy, would it ever be fun to count all of the eggs in this book, to see how many eggs we could find, even just on one page. There's a lot of eggs on one page, so that would be a fun thing to do, would be to go through and count all of the eggs. I also thought of some other activities that I have done with my students in the past that are math activities to do with Easter and to do with eggs. The first one I thought I would show you is kind of a fun one, and you might have these at home and you might not, and that's okay if you don't. You could try it with something different, or you could come up with your own game. But I thought, boy, I have these plastic eggs that have just been kind of sitting in an Easter box at my house and a basket, and I thought I could make a math game out of this. I could put some eggs in the basket and I could take some away and hide some. And then I would have to try and guess, or have maybe your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad have to guess how many eggs were missing. So I'm going to try this with you for a minute. So I'm going to show you this basket. It's got eggs inside. And if you count, there are 10 eggs in this basket. I'm just going to give you a second to count. Can you see all 10 eggs? Okay. Now I'm going to take some eggs away. I'm not going to tell you how many. And then I'm going to hold the basket up again and see if you can count how many eggs are in the basket now. Can you see how many there are? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I started with 10 eggs and some fell out. And now I have 7 left. How many eggs fell out of the basket? If you guessed 3, then you were correct. And you could play this game with your sisters or brothers or your parents. And it's just kind of an easy, fun game to play. You don't even need to have plastic eggs. You could have balls, or you could do it with anything you want. And it doesn't have to be a real Easter basket either. It could be a bin or a bucket. But it's a fun game to play to try and guess how many are left. Now, another neat math activity that I did with my plastic eggs were, I actually made some math questions and I wrote them right on the egg with a Sharpie marker. So if you see the top of this egg, I wrote 6 plus 8. And on the bottom of this egg, I wrote the answer, which would be 14. And I could do this on a number of eggs. I could do it on 10 eggs or 20 eggs or even more. And then I could separate them all, mix them all up, and try to find their match and try to find the answer that would go underneath of the equation. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together, but you have to solve the math questions. Now, one more activity I'm going to share with you that I'm putting up on our week at a glance kind of goes along with that first basket activity. And it's one that I made that's called a Tisket a Tasket. On this page, there will be a blank picture of an Easter basket and a math question with some numbers missing. And it says, a tisket, a tasket, I had blank eggs in my basket. Blank fell out, now I have blank eggs left in my basket. And what I did is I decided how many eggs was I going to start with. So I'm making a subtraction question. And we know when we subtract, we start with the whole number. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start with 8. And I wrote the number 8 here on my line. And then I knew that 4 of those eggs had fallen out. So around my basket, I drew 4 eggs that had fallen out of the basket. And now I have 4 eggs left in my basket. Here, I drew 4 eggs inside of my basket. And together, that made a math sentence or a math question. 8 minus 4 equals 4. And I could reverse that and even do an addition question. I could say 4 plus 4 equals 8. So if you want, you can print out this template. It's linked onto our week at a glance. If you don't have a printer, you could draw this. You could just draw a little basket. You could make your own math question underneath. And what I really tried to do was, on my eggs, do you notice how I did all of my patterns a little bit different? I tried to make them bright and colorful. Some have shapes, some have pictures, and different designs on them. I tried to make it beautiful. The book, The Easter Egg, kind of inspired me to do that, to put as many colors and patterns as I could. So that's a fun Easter math activity that you can also do this week. We would love to see your pictures too. So if you do this activity, please take a picture of it and send it to us. And then we can see your beautiful decorations and coloring, and we can see your math. Okay? Well, thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you loved the story, and I hope you can go away with a few ideas for some math games. See you later.